Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video, we are making these beautiful cascading waterfall journals. Basically, the idea is that you have these cascading pages, it looks like steps. As you turn the pages get longer and longer. This is the one we make in the tutorial, but I also have made a few others so we can talk about all of the details. We'll be talking about the different types of closures that you can do, the embellishing, of course, folding of the pages. We can make different covers, different sizes, all sorts of stuff. We're doing everything step by step. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a full flip through of this beautiful, embellished, fully finished journal so you can get lots of ideas. And the best part is it's so easy to do, easy and quick. All right, let's begin. First, I'm going to demonstrate with tea-dyed paper, and then I will demonstrate with 12 by 12 sheets of paper. The first thing you need to decide before you start folding is how wide do you want these to be. You can see the difference here. This one here is about 1/2 inch, and this one here is about 1/4 inch. I didn't actually measure anything. This is all just approximate. So I'm going to demonstrate how to actually achieve this look, and then that's going to make sense. So let's begin with the tea-dyed paper. I'm not sure how many sheets I'm going to use because I'm not measuring anything. And the first thing you do is make your fold. So this is where you decide, like, how much do you want over here? How wide do you want your journal to be? I'm just going to say approximately, I'm going to make that first fold here, just there. And I just happen to have made that fold at exactly 4 inches or thereabouts. And now I'm going to open this up and I can see my fold here. I'm grabbing my next paper and now I'm just looking at this side here. So how far do you want this to be? It can be 1 centimeter, it can be 1/2 inch, it can be 1 inch. It really depends on how many pages you want to fit in. I'm going to go for perhaps a smaller section, something like that. And so now I've placed my paper there. Now I'm going to fold it here. And I'm going to fold it against this fold here so I can see where that is. Maybe I'll move my paper down a little bit just so I can see a bit better. I can see my fold there, and that's exactly where I'm going to fold my paper. Right there. And now when I place them together, you can see it's starting to happen. And now I'm just going to keep going until all of this is filled up. So I'll grab my next piece of paper. Align it approximately over here. You can see it's approximately the same distance from each other. And now I'm making that fold. And that's looking good so far. Next. If you want perfection, you can always measure at the beginning. So you can mark your papers. So for example, your first page is 4 inches. And then the next one you would mark and fold at 4 1/4 inch or 4 1/2 inch and so on. And I just keep going until this page is pretty much folded in half. You'll see what I mean. And another point to make is that these folds, I'm always folding against the very last fold that I did. And periodically I'm checking how I'm going. You can see how that's looking. So there's a gap here. So I probably just need one more page. There we go. It looks perfect. Everything looks evenly spaced, and that's all done with no measuring. So in total, I have exactly 10 pages that are folded in half there. So that gives me 40 sides to write on. The closer together you make these, the more pages you can fit in, and the further apart they are, the less pages you can fit in. I hope that's making sense. Oh, how beautiful does this look? So cool and so easy to achieve, right? And now for the cover, what I will do, because this is A4 size paper or standard copy paper, that's the exact same size that you need for your cover. So basically this is how I do the cover. I'm going to pop that on there and I'm going to leave the same amount of space here. Fold this over the top and see how it looks. Want to have a nice crisp fold there. Pop that in and there we go, perfect. So this cover, by the way, is just cardstock. And now I would go ahead and decorate the cover, add a closure, bind these pages in, of course, which is, I'm going to do all of those steps with my 12 by 12 size paper. So I have chosen 10 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. And because all of these scrapbook papers are patterned on both sides, I wanted to break it up a little bit. And so I added just these clear 12 by 12 sheets in there as well, just so there's more writing space. And now I'm going to start folding. So this I have decided is going to be my page number 1. And I'm going to do that first fold at 4 inches again. But I'm going to measure this time. I do have a scoring board, but we don't need a scoring board. So I can see my mark there, and I'm going to make my fold there. Just aligning everything up the top. Want to make sure everything's nice and straight. And off we go. This is my next page. I'm not going to measure, so I'm just going to hope for the best. So it's just a tiny little bit more than 1/8 of an inch, and in metric it's about 4 millimeters. So I'm just going to move it down so I can see my fold over here. So I'm just going to fold there. My next page. And I'm just going to keep going. You know what to do here. If you can't see, like for example on this paper, I can't see where that fold is. So then what I do is I make a little mark, just like that, so I know where I need to fold the next piece of paper. And by all means, there's nothing wrong with having uneven spacings, especially if you're planning to decorate those edges like I did over here. You can see I have some laces and I have sewing and all that stuff. So you can see here, let's have a look at this one here. You can see how wide this one is compared to this one here. So they don't even have to be like perfectly aligned. That's why I'm doing it without measuring, so you can see that it's fine to just wing it. And I'm just checking periodically how it's looking. You can even have ripped edges. That would look really cool. I've done that before, where I had a staggered journal with just ripped edges. So here we go. I've actually folded all of my 10 pages, but I can actually fit one more page in here. So I'm gonna go and grab one more. I might even be able to fit 2 more pages in there. Let's see. So this is how it's looking, and because these two are exactly the same color, from afar it kind of looks like I'm missing a page. So I'm going to pop another page right in there. So that's going to make it 12 pages. And now I'm simply going to fold this one in half and see how it goes. Usually once you get to the middle, that middle page is usually folded around the half mark. And there we go. That's how it looks. I think it looks pretty nice. If you're striving for perfection, which I sometimes do, I am guilty of that, then obviously measure each page. And another point I wanted to make here, as soon as you make your first fold, when you decide, okay, I want that to be 4 inches, you can see straight away how wide your book is going to be. So if you don't want it that wide, then you make your fold at 5 inches, for example, and then it's that wide. Now that I have my pages ready, the next thing I'm going to do is work on the cover. Basically, I need another 12 by 12 cardstock preferably, or 2 scrapbook pages stuck together so you have some strength on there. And then now, same as I did before, this goes on top. I'm going to leave a little bit of space here, just like that, and make that fold over here. Move that out of the way. I want to make a perfect fold. And let's have a look. Here we go. I'm happy with how this looks. And now I'm going to go and cut it down to whatever size I want, because 12 by 12 sheets of paper, it's too large for a journal. For me anyway, but you can leave this as it is. You can go ahead and decorate the cover. Maybe use another pretty piece of paper like this on the cover, whatever. I'm going to do that next, but first I want to cut it down. So I could perhaps cut it down in the middle and have 2 journals. Why not? Is that what I want to do? I'm not sure. This one here I've cut down to about 8 inches, just a little bit bigger than 8 inches. So I think this is quite a nice size. And then when I cut it down to 8 inches, I have about this much left. So I can go ahead and use all of those pieces of paper that I have left over to decorate on the inside here, which is what I've done. And I'll show you in the flip through. But I'm just thinking what I want to do with this one. Maybe I want to make 2 6-inch journals. And you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I'm going to cut this right there in the middle at 6 inches. You can cut your paper in advance. You don't have to do the folding first. And here we go. This is quite thick, so I probably should have done it in more than one go, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it and hope for the best. And here we go. I don't know, did I ruin it by cutting it in half? I have 2 journals now. It doesn't hurt to have some different sizes, I guess. I have this size and I have this size and this size, and now I have that size too. Why not? All right, I'm just gonna work on one. So I'll pop this one aside, and now I'm gonna continue with this one. So at this point, for the sake of this video, I'm not gonna do it all now because it would take too long. But if you wanted to decorate the edges, I'm gonna go through all of this. I'm gonna do a flip through to give you ideas. If you wanted to add lace and sewing and all of that stuff, you do that at this stage before you bind the journal. But because it's gonna take quite a bit of time, I won't do that. I might just do some of the page. Maybe I'll just go and do some sewing now on the yellow pages. I'll be right back, and then we'll continue to the binding and the rest of the book. So I've just sewn on this page a little bit, and I went all around, and you can see my stitching is perfect up here. But of course, it's always at the critical point that something goes wrong. Like here, skipped stitches, here my thread broke, but we can fix all of those little issues with, you know, at the decoration stage. But I wanted to show you how it looks so far. I can add a little tab on here if that bothers me. I wanted to show you some boo-boos because they do happen, as you know. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more stitching and show you how it looks. I said boo-boos, didn't I? All right, here's this one. Look how cool this looks. I just used a different type of stitch, and oh, it looks so good. Can't really see it fully, but when it's opened up like this, then you can. My machine is doing crazy things today, skipping stitches, all sorts of stuff. My thread broke over here, so I just added a little bit of washi tape to kind of hide that, you know, bulk of thread. And here we go. So that's all the sewing I'm gonna do. I really liked how that washi tape looks, so I went ahead and added it onto most of these yellow pages because I kind of really like that look. So at this stage, you know, you would add lace or whatever. Like here, I've added some doilies. These are glued on. These are avocado dyed. So whatever the look is you're going for, perhaps some tabs, all that sorts of stuff. But I think the next step is I'm going to decorate my cover, and then I'll know where to place my closure. Okay, this is what I decided to do with my cover. I just cut a piece of paper that's a little bit smaller than that front cover, and then I will have this black piece of cardstock there, and this is just a sticker that says cherish, as you can see, and it's going to go on there. And then I'm going to have my closure running underneath with a bow here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces down. But first I thought I might have some nice corners like this. That looks a little bit more special, I think. By all means, you can do the cover last, but because it's a little bit curved, I like to be able to work on a flat surface like this. And that's why I do the cover at this step. You might also decide to have your closure glued onto the cover, and then you could perhaps do something like this, glue it under this piece so it's, you know, underneath. I might want to do that. Let's see. If you do it that way, it would look something like this. But I don't know. I actually like the lace going over the top, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop this aside for now and just glue those front pieces on. Here we go. That's all glued on and ready to go. So I'm going to have my lace running in the middle. And I'm actually going to do two laces, this pink one and this black one together. I'm going to bind, when I'm binding this journal, which is what I'm doing next, I'm going to bind this lace in there as well. So I'll show you here. You can see this lace is actually bound into the book, so it's non-removable. Of course, you can have just something that wraps around that is removable. And here at the back, what I've done is I've just sewn that lace onto the back cover. So, you know, the lace is not going anywhere, it's always there, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So I've got my binding thread ready. I'm just using this pink embroidery floss to bind, and now I have to get everything sitting in there the way I want it, and I'm arranging my lace the way I want it. And now let's see. So the front piece of lace has to be a little bit longer than the back. You'll see what I mean, because I'm tying a bow here and not in the middle. So I just want to see approximately where that bow is going to be. It's going to be right there. So I need about the same size of lace here and here. So that's probably going to be somewhere there. I'll start binding and then I can maneuver the lace. All right, let's do it that way. Okay, so I'm doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm going to find the middle of my journal, my signature. I'm going to bind in the cover and everything all in one go. And the first thing I'm going to do is find the middle. That looks about the middle. I'm going to poke that hole there. Perfect. Now I'm going to go down here about 1 inch from the bottom and about 1 inch from the top. about there. I'm keeping that in there. That's keeping everything in place. And now I start binding with my thread. I'm going to go through the middle. And now I'm going to arrange my lace. That looks about right. I hope this is making sense. So here's my lace. This is where I'm gonna go through both layers of lace. Just like that. And pull my needle out. So that's gone through the lace, and now I'm gonna pull this one out and go in through that top hole. I could have really just wrapped that lace around, make it easier for everyone, but now I'm gonna go through the bottom hole, come out, and then go back in through the middle hole. So I need to go through the lace, through the cover, and the pages. So here we go. All right, both ends are on the inside. I'm gonna trim that excess thread off. Make sure everything is nice and tight in there. So I'm really gonna tighten that up as much as I can. Perfect. And now I'm gonna tie a knot or a double knot and a bow, and done. So the journal is bound. It's nice and tight in there. It's not going anywhere. And the lace is bound, so that stays there. Now I really want this back lace to sort of not be all over the place, so I'm just gonna bring it over here, and like I did with the one that I've shown you before, make sure everything is nice and centered like this. And I'm gonna take it to my sewing machine and just do a little stitch over here just to keep that lace in place. And here it is. So you can see that lace is on there. It's a little bit neater that way. It's not flailing all over the place. And you can see that little stitch there. And it looks perfect. Nice and neat. And now let's see if I have enough of this lace to tie that bow. This is my very last piece of this lace. You don't have to worry about where you're going to bind it if you have a whole lot of lace that you can play around with and then cut off. So let's tie that bow. And here we go, done. So bow tied. Okay, so what I want to show you is this. We have just made this journal and it's kind of gaping a little bit because it's brand new. And I haven't even put anything in it yet. But if you compare it to this one, after a little while, it just kind of flattens out. And perhaps if you lay it under something heavy, that will do the trick as well. But I didn't do that with this one, and it's sitting perfectly well, even though it's full to the brim. So once I fill this one up as well and, you know, do all of that, it's gonna sit nice and flat. But I think that's looking pretty good so far, and I haven't even embellished it yet. So what I'm going to do now is, look how cool this looks. It's pretty cool, fun waterfall journal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a flip through of this one so you can get lots of ideas on what you can add to the journal and how you can embellish it. Before I do that, I wanted to show you this one because I've done the closure completely different. So this one here, this closure comes completely off. This was a headband. I just added some of this gold elastic rather than the white elastic that was there before. And on this journal, I have sewn in some lace on the cover or on the spine, and I made that into a pocket. So that's very cool. And then on the inside, I just put a little bit of something there on the first page, and then I didn't decorate the inside. I just added these doily flowers. So you can totally play around with the type of closure that you put on your journal. This one here, I've done the exact same thing that I've shown you just now. And I've only embellished here at the front, but the rest is just blank paper like this. You know, you can go to town with this, which is what I've done on this one here. Let's get into it. Okay, so the closure is exactly the same as I've done in this tutorial. And the cover, the same thing. I just use a bit of scrapbook paper that I stuck on top. This butterfly is part of the scrapbook paper, not that it matters. Anyway, here we go, a little belly band right here at the start with the window, and I've just popped some things in there, and you will see I've done lots of sewing of the pages and added all sorts of fun stuff. This one opens up, and then pocket here with that tag. It's just so much fun. I embellished a little bit. We've got all of this beautiful lace on the edges. That's what makes this type of a project fun. It's the edges. And here as well, I added this tag in here, and I wanted to, because all of these papers are fun and bright and busy papers, I wanted to add as much writing space as possible. So you can see here, I kind of covered this paper underneath because there really isn't much you can do with it. You can't really write on it. Let's keep going. Here I've added more writing spots. This page here, I cut in half, and I glued that piece that I cut off, I glued it to the back, and I made a pocket. I hope that makes sense. So instead of this page being all the way up to here, I just cut it down, glued that piece onto the back, and here we go, a little pocket. And then here you can see all of the sewing around. Here is more fun stuff and a pocket. I just glued this piece right over the top. And of course, just to add more writing space as well, I have a pocket here. See what I mean with this page? Well, you can write, I guess, in the white parts. But anyway, I wanted to add as much writing space as possible. Here's some bits and pieces I've stuck down. Lots of sewing. Oh, it just looks so much fun, all this sewing. This one, what's this one here? This one comes off. You can see I've added extra writing spots, you know, and those two pages. I mean, it is a little bit busy. It's way out of my comfort zone. I don't usually go for these bright summery white colors. I like to distress my papers and tea dye and all sorts of stuff, but I left it white, as you can see, and I was working with these colors and these types of paper that I don't usually use, but I think it's fun for this project. This one here, these are the bits that I cut off. So remember how we start with the 12 by 12 sheet, and then I cut it down to 8 inches. So I had these bits all left over, and I used them throughout the journal, as you'll see. And I didn't go crazy with adding lots of stuff because I wanted there to be lots of writing space. This is another piece, that was the bottom piece. I just cut that off and made a pocket. So definitely keep those pieces. I mean, I know you would. You're not going to throw out a whole chunk of nice paper. And then over here, I made another one of those window belly bands. This is just acetate that I sewn in. You can see all that sewing. I just sewn in some acetate to make that window. And then, you know, pop bits and pieces in there. It's just fun, right? I don't know, do you think it's fun? I think it's fun. And here, another acetate pocket. I think it's really cool, these acetate pockets, the clear pockets. They look so good in journals. And just added more writing space. I did some stamping. I mean, we can just go to town with embellishing this. This one here is an envelope that opens up, more writing space. When you're using busy patterned paper, you can definitely write on this. I would write on the lines. This whole thing is about journaling and writing, so I like to make sure there's lots of writing spaces. And here I made this large envelope and I glued it to the back cover, so that makes that back cover even sturdier. And then I just popped in some bits and pieces in there, more writing space. That's the back cover. And here we go, look at all of these beautiful journals. We can do so much fun stuff with this idea. We can make tiny little booklets from leftover pieces of paper and all sorts of stuff. Ripped edges, like I said before. As with most things that we make, the possibilities are endless, and I really enjoyed this project, as you can see. I think I enjoyed it a little bit too much because now I have this one to finish, I have this one to finish, and I have this one to finish. So that will be a whole lot of fun, and I still have to embellish this one on the inside. But in any case, I hope you guys feel inspired. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!